Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we're going to demonstrate how to remove the motor. So let's say a customer calls you and they have an LE error code. An LE error code typically on an LG machine indicates something with the motor. It could be an open motor harness from the control board to the motor. It could be an open or a pinch wire harness where the stator is. So today what we're going to do is we're going to remove the motor and check the motor. So first thing we want to do is we want to unplug the machine for safety. I'm going to go ahead and shut the water off and disconnect the water. Disconnect the water lines. So we're going to take the back off. So we have 4 screws that secure the back panel. So we're going to go ahead and take those off real fast. Once we take off the back panel, we'll have access to the motor. So this right here, we have a rotor with a stator inside there. So we're gonna loosen, we're just gonna take off this screw. Sometimes it's not gonna be this easy. You may have to hold this in place. Be careful, guys. So this is a magnet, so you have to carefully take it off. We're gonna inspect this. See, so if this was cracked, it would probably give you an error code if it was binding, but this looks pretty good. So now that we have the rotor off, we have our stator in place. It's held together by 3 screws. So we're gonna take those out right now. Carefully take off the stator. We're going to disconnect the wires, and here we have the stator. So here we have the stator on the workbench, and I mean, yes. So this is a 3-phase motor. On a 3-phase motor, typically we have 3 different windings, and the best way to tell if a 3-phase motor is defective is we check the resistance of each combination. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check this one to this one, and we got 12, 13. We're going to go to the end, 13, and we're going to go from here to here. So each of the combinations are giving us the same reading. That indicates that this is a good stator. Good. All right, let's go back and reinstall the motor, guys. The first thing I like to do is I like to put a harness in, because that's the part that's going to be a lot of problems. Once we put the harness in, we want to get the motor back on the back of the tub. So to put some screws in. I'm not going to tighten the screws yet. I want to make sure they're all in. We don't cross thread these screws. Now let's go ahead and get them in place. So before we go ahead and put the stator back in place, the rotor back in place, let's go ahead and put the wire harness back in place by putting it there. So now go ahead and put on the rotor. Now this is magnetic, so you have to be very careful when we do this. So we're going to go ahead and carefully your fingers won't catch your fingers. Put the screw back in place, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten. And there we go, we have the motor back in. We're gonna put this unit in diagnostic and make sure the unit is working properly. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm gonna put a machine in diagnostic. We already have a video posted on how to do that, so that's fine. So, all right, now that we replaced the motor, let's go ahead and put it in diagnostic and make sure it works properly, make sure it's not making any noise, make sure it's not binding. Okay, now the unit is in diagnostic. Let's go ahead and get the motor turning. So it should be going at very low RPMs right now. We're listening to make sure there's no touching, there's no binding. Sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and get it to the highest RPM. So the unit seems to be working properly. Unit is running. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the back panel back on, and that's it. We remove the motor, we check the motor, and we reinstall the motor. All right, let's go ahead and put the back panel back on. So let's make sure everything is in properly. That way all the screws are lined up. We're going to put the screws back in.